so today I'm working on this Indy 400 again. Now, you see, the issue I found is that back suspension, that rear suspension here is not mounted quite right. So the issue is that this idler right here, you know, depending on when you check it, I don't know, right now it's not too bad, but that's really close to the end of the edge of the track there. And actually I checked it the other day and it looked like it was almost falling off, like the back of the, like the side of the track was coming up. So I decided that right now, before something, you know, shit goes even worse, I am going to take it out and do my drive shaft, because like I think it's been mentioned before, I can't get a speedometer cable in it, so that needs to be replaced. And I've got a new drive shaft, or a used drive shaft right there that I'm gonna have to get the bearing off of soon. And well, I've got this, I finally think I'm just going to do this swap to this 133.5 track. Now this is actually, I can't, part of the issue I'm gonna have here is I cannot find any measurements for a 133.5 non-extra 10 for, in terms of, you know, making this work. So basically with the extra 10, I could just do that, just drill up that rivet and go like that. The 133.5 is too long yet. So part of the reason I'm downgrading from an extra 10 to a non is, number one, longer track. I mean, you know, that's pretty self-explanatory. But number two, the front end isn't an extra 10, which means that it's kind of, you know, it's kind of fun. Well, it is kind of weird having, you know, long travel rear suspension and then, you know, standard front suspension. It's just kind of a little bit jarring, and it's just, front suspension isn't great. So let's, rather than upgrading that, I'm just going to make the rear suspension less great to even it out. But that, and you know, the headlight kind of doesn't even adjust, it isn't very great. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of my plan here. Just swap that over to this track. I was actually originally going to put this in, then I ran into the issue where the bolt holes didn't line up at all. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I might end up drilling out all the rivets and moving it over, or I might end up making a new plate. I am undecided on that front yet, but first thing is I gotta get this, get the drive shaft out is gonna be the big thing, because on this one I ended up just cutting the thing because these stupid, I couldn't, you know, this one came out, just this Allen key came out just fine, but then this one just decided to, you know, strip because, you know, it's an Allen key. But on the other thing of it is that it didn't, you know, I couldn't get a drill bit to cut that. Wasn't gonna get a drill bit to do that, so I don't know what the issue was there, but evidently it was not very, I think that's a harder steel with not very great metal. But anyway, I've already got this thing tore down to where, got that cover off, got the exhaust off, got that secondary off, got the gas drained out so I can not spill that all over everything. So yeah, I think right now I just need to, now I think, well, maybe I should probably get the forklift in here, maybe. Actually, I don't know if I'll end up doing, you know, lifting up with a forklift, or just definitely gonna end up being just tipped over for most of this anyway. So it didn't go too horrible, but now I got the bearing off, got the drive shaft out, and now really just gotta figure out how to get the old locking collar and thing off that other drive shaft and put it back on, put the other one back in. So yeah, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, I think, but I got all the shaft figured out with that locking collar. And anyway, so now what I'm figuring out here is basically where to set that locking collar. So now basically I got the sprockets just loosely on there. I want to make sure that that's all good. So I was thinking, well, what's the point of even having the locking collar if this sprocket should, in theory, you know, the bolt on this side should keep it from moving that way, and then the end of the circular part of the shaft on that side should keep it from moving this way. So what's the point of having the locking collar? Well, then I found out right here, you got that much shaft sticking out on this side, so therefore you do actually have to set that locking collar so it holds the shaft from moving side to side. So we're going to have to do that. I'm going to tighten that bolt down, so then I can, we're gonna have to tip it up again or whatever, and then basically go and tighten the locking collar, you know, hammer that locking collar, tighten it down so it tightens the shaft where it needs to be. And then I don't even have a track in here now. Then I can just slide it back out of this side, because there is enough room to do that after I get that locking collar set, so that I can then slip a track in there and then put all this back together and then work on the suspension. So, right, so I got that locking collar hammered on there. I got this, I mean, it's center. I think it's within, it's somewhere between maybe a 16th or an 1/8 of an inch off center, but I mean, that's, you know, who really knows? I don't think that's going to be much of a game changer, but anyway. Yeah, so other than that, also, this is a pet peeve of mine. This is why I would never use studs on a thing, because, you know, that's your cooler right there. That's your main engine cooler, and that's almost wore through. So anyway, yeah, anyway, I air hammered that on there, and I air hammered it on there a little too hard, to where the air hammer couldn't hammer it back off. So that's probably not coming off without a lot of fire and or violence. So, you know, I guess that's either good or bad, depending on how you look at it. But anyway, so now, next thing is I gotta figure out, I might need to relocate this, this plate here, because, you know, the 133-inch skid needs a different mounting location, because it needs to go further this way. So I'm just thinking about how exactly to do that. Because I tried originally, when I had done this, I had tried to use this one and this one as its mounting point. That did not work. So I'm thinking that we definitely need to move it this way, but then the issue is you got these 4 rivets here on both sides, which hold on something, you know, you can't just really say the hell with that. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this. I don't think I'm going to give up and go back to 121 extra 10, because I kind of want at least one long track. So, yeah, obviously end up having to drill out these steel rivets and then move it over. I also don't have any steel rivets, so I'm going to end up having to use these 3/8 bolts and hoping that clears in every spot that I need it to. So, yeah, this is going to be a little bit of screwing around. So I got this out, and I think ultimately, so the solution is going to be to just probably just end up cutting this where the line of rivets goes, just to, you know, basically just clearance it. And yeah, basically just, because I mean, all the rivets are on the outer perimeter, so I can just cut that corner off, do that to both of them basically, and yeah, hope that one of these lines up, because if that didn't, that would be really bad, and I would be really annoyed. So yeah, basically just kind of pray at this, you know, at this point, because I don't really think it needs to be exact. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try. If not, then I'm hoping that that'll also work as an extra 10 mounting point, but you know, you never really know. So, all right, so this is what I got. Basically, I'm using 4 of these mounting points, because this one's too high, I can't get a nut on the backside. And yeah, anyway, I'm deciding to use that one because I think this one's too close to the edge and we want it to be as low as possible. So now I think I'm gonna slip the track in there and see if that skid decides to fit, or if it's just gonna be a pain in the ass. All right, so I got that, got everything in there, got the track in there. Now, moving on to this skid here, and I'm now just realizing that, number one, I'm missing that, you know, that thing on this side, and this shock bushing is non-existent. So I'm gonna go grab one of the couple extra standard 8-inch Polaris skids I have, and see if I have any of those parts, because if I'm having this out, I might as well do that. I'm also gonna probably grease everything while I'm under here, because that really should be done as well. So yeah, other than that, I think this is pretty good to go. The one thing I am noticing is basically right here you got this arm that pivots this way when you go when it goes down. Now this arm is limited by the limiter strap, or this whole thing is obviously limited by the limiter strap. Basically, if you take off that limiter strap, this can move closer and potentially get farther up, which I will probably want to do, because that is how that's how you have to do the extra 10s to get them to mount in there. I don't know about the 8-inch suspension, because I've only ever taken them out. I've never put them back in. And I think that's what these are called, are 8-inch suspensions. But anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is that I should see if this can move further this way, because if I can do it, I probably should. And then the other part of this is, or, you know, the other thing I noticed is that I did actually get 4 rollers. I don't know why they only come with 3, like one offset. But I had enough, like just the right spacers to do 4 on this one, so I figured I might as well do 4. But yeah, I don't know, that always struck me as weird. But anyway, I'm going to see if so that limiter strap isn't really, so if that limiter strap isn't really maxed out right now, I should be able to squeeze this. I'm gonna do some playing around with this. Also gonna really try and see how these springs come off and see if I can get that thing there. I think judging by that, we should just be able to actually just stretch this over the wheel, and then that'll probably spring this way a little bit and come off. I'm hoping that's how that works. So yeah, I'm just kind of hoping I have all the parts to make this decent, because yeah, but judging by the rest of the damn thing, it really shouldn't matter. So I got this rear suspension fixed up, got that little spring rest on there, got the new, actually, I put the shock from the other suspension on because that one was so blown I could use it actually jump on this and use it as a trampoline. Now it actually functions normally. So yeah, I mean, this one, I don't know if you can be able to see that very much, but yeah, that's pretty blown. So yeah, now I've got shock with a good bushing, and I've got all this tidied up, or not tidied up, but buttoned up. So yeah, now I can throw this in there and go back to what I was doing before, where basically hoping that I relocated those plates was right, so that now all this work I did on this hopefully won't be in vain. So yeah, anyway, I still got a lot more work to do, and it's 10:30 at night, and I think it's gonna warm up to the point where snow's gonna start melting in the next couple days, unfortunately. So I really want to get this done, and so I can actually, ride it. So yeah, then after we do that, I'm gonna have to make rear suspension mounts, unless they just happen to line up with one of the existing ones. And then once I put everything back together, I am also gonna have to redo the headlight alignment, so that'll all be nice. But yeah, I'm hoping that hopefully with a longer suspension here, this one won't get stuck nearly as much as the other ones. But that's not how that's going to work at all. I'm just going to get more stuck, but because I'll be more confident in it not getting stuck. But anyway, that's all besides the point. Yeah, we need to get working on this. All right, so it looks like our front mounts worked pretty perfectly. Now, these rear, I removed my old rear mounts because those are too far forward. So these don't line up with this, obviously, as it is at least. Now, what I'm wondering is if I remove that limiter strap, will this arm allow it to shift this way, giving it a little bit more, a little bit actually more lift, and more, giving it actually able to use this factory mount, which actually makes my life easier. So I'm going to take off that limiting strap, because then what you do is you let it go like that, and then and then after that, then you got to set it down and then actually put the limiting strap back on. So I'm going to hope that's how this is going to work, because that would actually be really easy and look nice. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to hope. Right, so this can in fact be done this way. However, it really shouldn't, because basically this arm, for some reason, this one does not want to go to flex backwards anymore. So this just starts flexing down, and then there goes all your suspension travel. So yeah, this is gonna have to be have new mounts made. So try to can't do it the lazy way all the time, I guess, unfortunately. But anyway, not too hard to make mounts for this. I think I'm just gonna use the old plates. Gonna have to straighten one of those, and yeah, basically just kind of figure out how to do it. So I got my mounts made. Pretty happy with the height and stuff. Now I still do need to drill the third hole right there on the other side. But before that, or while I do that, ran into another issue where that front shaft that one goes through there is stripped out. So I got to take the one remaining one out of that one and throw it in here. Now I got to probably gonna be a pain in the ass to pound that all the way through, but I got to do it. So I don't think that one's gonna be stuck. I think it's just that one's that's gonna be the issue. So yeah, not too excited about that, but it's whatever. So after that, then all we got to do is tighten this stupid track, and then put everything else back together. So I might even be done by midnight. I wouldn't be home by midnight, that's for damn sure. So okay, I gotta keep working. It's the last half hour of this thing. I just kind of rushed and got it done. Didn't really pick up the camera, but yeah, I got pretty much everything done. Just need to add gas to this thing right now. And I mean, you can tell it's got a long track now. I should maybe make a tunnel extension for that at some point, but not tonight. So, I mean, it's definitely no extra 10, but it's got, you know, the suspension works pretty decent. So, yeah, I think at this point I'm just gonna add gas, get some gear on, and take her for a late night rip, and then go the fuck home. Cause holy shit, this has been one fucking night working on this shit. So, yeah, everything should be working on this one now. I mean, speedometer just basically went through all this trouble, more or less to fix the speedometer, but also, I mean, a long track is also really nice. I'm not sure how exactly long this long track is gonna last, but, you know, it's there. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be it for this video. Bye, I guess.